have seen in any Bethesda game since. I would even say that this is one of the deepest computer role-playing character creation systems ever made. Sure, you can't adjust your facial structure, your height, or the size of your package, but that doesn't matter here. The customizability comes not in the form of aesthetics, but in the complete control of your character's talents and mind. Primary, major.
Hello, thanks for joining. Feel free to chit-chat or let me know if you have any experience with the game.
You have proven yourself a loyal servant of the Empire, as worthy as any of the blades to stand by Martin's side during this crisis. As the Grand Master of the Blades, I would be honored to accept you into our order. Will you join us? The Blades are sworn to the service of the Emperor as the mortal representative of the dragon blood of the Divine Talos. It is my honor to welcome you into our ranks as a Knight Brother of the Blades. This place was built by Raymond Cyrodiil Zakaviri Dragon Guard at the founding of the Second Empire. Since then, it has served the Blades as headquarters, fortress, and sanctuary. We can protect Martin here until you recover the Amulet of Kings. This fortress is well supplied with arms and armor. Use what you need from the armory in the East Wing. You're right. We must try to recover the amulet before the enemy takes it out of our reach. You should go back to the Imperial city. Boris may have learned something about the assassins. You'll find Boris at Luther Broad's boarding house in the Elven Gardens district of the Imperial city. The Amulet of Kings is the key to everything now. Once we have it back, Martin can use it to light the dragonfires in the Temple of the One and reseal the barriers between Oblivion and our world. Give my warm regards to Boris. Tell him he should not blame himself for the Emperor's death. He did well to send you to me.
Always push the mom button. Well, it's 10:44.
Yes.
Ugh, I'm playing a little bit wonky, excuse me, my cat, she's walking in front of me and being a cute little nuisance.
Sir. Hey. Sorry, but I'm too busy to talk right now. Try one of the other blades, perhaps Rolliard or Cyrus. I haven't time to talk right now, I'm afraid, but I'm sure one of the other blades can help. Try speaking with Belisarius, or...
Sir, please forgive me, but I'm afraid I haven't got time to talk right now. One of the other blades should be able to assist you. Try Jenna or Stefan.
They're all busy, but the Emperor's dead.
I haven't time to talk right now.
Welcome aboard. What can I do for you, sir? The Emperor's death was a harsh lesson for all of us. We failed in our duty to the Dragonborn. It must not happen again. Sometimes when it's quiet, I walk the battlements and breathe in the cold mountain air. It's the only peace I allow
it's time
myself.
to go someplace else. Yeah, if you can't make it, don't worry about that.
If you need armor, weapons, or just a place to sleep, the barracks in the West Wing is available to any of us.
Yeah.
May Uriel's spirit guide us in
Cool,
these
just-
troubled times.
Alright, see you soon. Drive carefully. Love you.
Sir. This whole business of being heir to the throne will take some getting used to. Please bear with me. Farewell, my friend.
Actually, give me a quick second, everyone. I'm gonna charge my watch really quickly. Thanks for your patience. I stumbled on my words because it's my battle bracelet, but it is a watch technically.
Hail!
Sir.
Everything's heavy, I'm pretty sure, so not for me.
Welcome aboard, sir. It'll be an honor to serve with you. What can I do for you, sir? If you need armor, weapons, or just a place to sleep, the barracks in the West Wing is available to any of us. The Emperor's death was a harsh lesson for all of us. We failed in our duty to the Dragonborn. It must not happen again.
And minor skills, advantages.
There's no place more secure in all of Cyrodiil. I just wish we could have gotten our Lord Uriel here. May Uriel's spirit guide us in these troubled times.
There are over 35 skill choices to choose. There are over 35 skill choices to choose from. In comparison, Skyrim only has 18. Of course, we have the skills for combat, magic, and stealth, as you'd expect. But there are also skills for traversing, from running and jumping to climbing. And there are even linguistic skills that allow you to become fluent in a variety of hostile tongues, including Giantish, Orcish, and Dragonish. Now, these may not be the wisest nor the easiest choices to make, but even having the option is what makes this customization so great. These language skills, as they were implemented, were a little useless, only allowing you to pacify an enemy mob with a charm. But the idea was later built upon in Battlespire. It's a shame that so many of these skills were axed in the later games. How cool would it be to be able to talk to the enemies in Morrowind or Oblivion, like you can with the dragons in Skyrim? There are also a ton ton of special advantages and disadvantages you can give your character to make the game easier, harder, or simply more interesting. Ability the forms of magic or innate talents and certain skills, to be forbidden using certain weapons.
So I started playing Daggerfall last night. I got through the first dungeon. Wow, that first dungeon was wild. There was a skeleton I couldn't defeat. Ended up just trapping it behind this big U table. Literally in the shape of a U, except not rounded, just curved. I guess you cute, whatever. And yeah, so it was cool though. It was really fun. There was just one door that I could have bashed open, but I didn't know. I didn't have the patience, and so I just kind of blew through that. Got to the nearby town. I did a fast travel, just walked it in nighttime. And it was pretty spooky. But yeah, I'm enjoying my time so far. I only played about 1 hour and a half, so not too much playtime with it. But I am looking forward to continuing my adventures. I just realized I'm gonna do my best to not wait around, so I should have used the bed.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Sir.
Hail.
Sir. Sir.
I'm not gonna use the horse because I don't think my abilities rank up while using the horse, unfortunately.
One can make their run as easy or as hard as they like. Personally, as a bit of a veteran, not to toot my own horn too much, but playing through the game with huge disadvantages like the inability to cast magic really keeps the replay value high, to the point where I have no shame in saying that I have made more characters in Daggerfall than in any other Elder Scrolls game combined. To balance the system out, each advantage or disadvantage chosen affects how fast the player gains experience in their skill sets. An overpowered and easier build will level very slowly, while a heavily
I was thinking about that campfire that I saw.
advantage build will level up to 3 times faster. You can even adjust your starting reputations, helping you to get an early aim.
Whoa, what's that? Can someone say splish splash when typing about?
This is especially helpful if you wish to play a noble knight respected but disadvantage build will level up to 3 times faster. You can each advantage or disadvantage chosen affects how fast the player gains experience in their skill sets. An overpowered and easier build will level very slowly, while a heavily disadvantaged build will level up to 3 times faster. You can even adjust your starting reputations, helping you to get an early aim with a specific group while appearing undesirable to others. This is especially helpful if you wish to play a noble knight respected by the nobility or the Roman type, loved by the peasantry and underworld, but despised by the upper classes. What I'm getting at here is that I see lots of external role-playing missions of Skyrim, from mods to Dungeons and Dragons style character sheets. But in Daggerfall, it isn't just an add-on for the hardcore, but a built-in mechanic of the game proper. It's a true role-playing dream, allowing you to become whoever you please. Aesthetics-wise, you can choose between several
No way, the water is frozen? I wonder, it must be like this all the time. Because I do have enhanced weather, but I don't think it has seasons. Why is this on fire?
3D-made sprite faces. After this, you can name thyself.
Hello.
Once done, we are greeted with the statistics screen. Being influenced by early tabletop RPGs, Daggerfall uses a dice roll system of stat allocation, where the player must roll and re-roll their stats until they are satisfied with the outcome. With enough patience, it is possible to get some crazy beginner stats on this screen, allowing your first few hours of gameplay to be much easier than they may have been otherwise. Once done, we are greeted with the statistics screen. Being influenced by early tabletop RPGs, Daggerfall uses a dice roll system of stat allocation, where the player must roll and re-roll their stats until they are satisfied with the outcome. With enough patience, it is possible to get some crazy beginner stats on this screen, allowing your first few hours of gameplay to be much easier than they may have been otherwise.
I've been hearing disturbing tales about Oblivion gates opening all across Cyrodiil. I hope it's just wild talk.
This isn't something you'll see in modern games, but it exists.
I'm Surat, proud owner of Nova Roma, a little piece of heartland empire here in the lofty Jones. Have a look around. You won't find better prices in all.
Any experienced gamer, and I use that term quite lightly when it comes to these choices. I recommend high or very high for the most modern, fast-paced feeling result. Put it this way, if you can play Skyrim on the normal difficulty, Daggerfall on very high reflexes should be fine. At first glance, I will admit that this system can be very complex, hence why such a hefty manual was included with the game. But after a few run-throughs of the system, along with some additional reading from said manual or with the help of a guide from, say, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, it can be very simple to set up a perfect starting build. I personally recommend a high-elf melee build for your first playthrough, as their racial ability of immunity to paralysis can be very helpful when fighting the more deadly enemies in the late game. Daggerfall's in-depth for your first playthrough, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, it can be very simple to set up a perfect starting build. I personally recommend a high-elf melee build for your first playthrough, as their racial ability of immunity to paralysis can be very helpful when fighting the more deadly enemies in the late game. Daggerfall's in-depth character creation is in stark contrast to Skyrim's wider but more shallow approach, forcing the player to enact restrictions upon themselves as they will slowly conform to the same warrior-made stealth archer build. For some, that may be fun, but I like to roleplay in my role-playing games, and Daggerfall's systems embodies that gameplay style the best. One of the most interesting mechanics that sadly didn't.
I think I got enough money for my house.
I appreciate your wisdom. Did you ever hear about the ghost of Lord Lindrum? They say he haunts the road to Cornwall. Not that I've ever seen him myself,
Spider-Man, or an Assassin's Creed ancestor. I'm actually playing an Assassin's Creed inspired playthrough.
No need to go to the Imperial City. Bruma may look like a Skyrim town, but we've got all the comforts of the warm Nibelline South.
I didn't even know I wanted in an Elder Scrolls game.
Good day.
Once our character has been created, it's time for some story exposition with a classic full motion video introduction. Here, Emperor Uriel Septim. Yes, that very one. I guess toupees were the fashion of choice for the royalty in the Third Era. In a secret meeting, Septim gives you a mission to discover why the recently deceased King Lysandus of Daggerfall is haunting his capital city with a spectral army and a cry for blood. As a side quest, there is also a letter for Uriel here, haunting his capital city with a spectral army and a cry for As a side quest, there is also a letter for Uriel here sent to the Queen of Daggerfall, but it never arrived. With our missions in hand, the player sets out by ship from the Imperial City en route to the Iliad Bay, but just as we are nearing the coast of Daggerfall, a freak storm hits, and we find ourselves stuck in a cave with no way out. So, first things first, yes, this is one of the few Elder Scrolls games where we don't start out as a prisoner. We are instead one of the Emperor's close friends. However, that doesn't mean the game doesn't start with a dungeon. Unlike Arena, we are thankfully given some basic tutorials here, making this first encounter with the game's dungeon crawling a little bit easier. When it comes to dungeons and combat, this tutorial section is in part setting you up for about 60% of the game. While I wouldn't call Daggerfall a full-blown dungeon crawler, this aspect of the game is a hefty one. To balance this reliance on dungeons, they have made them more than worth your while, with loot being positively dripping off of most enemies you fight, and can even be found in piles on the floor. Hallways, caverns, large open chambers, throne rooms, and 100 foot drops into a watery chasm. All this and more can be linked together by the procedurally generated dungeon
What do you want?
algorithm, making each dungeon unique. Each one feels like there will be something different at every turn.
Good day.
Albeit all with the same dark and grimy aesthetic, which combined with the Goliath sizes can make these things a bit of a chore.
I wonder if it's just part of the mod. I'm gonna assume it is, because it usually tells you where you're going.
Well met. What do you want?
But explore. An auto-generated 3D map is given to you to help you traverse these mazes, and while it may not look like it would help much at first glance, when you realize that these dungeons can be 10 plus floors tall, you soon realize that a map like this is really the only way they could give the player this information. The map helps, and teleportation spells soon become invaluable in finding the exit, and due to their random nature, especially when it comes to their loot, unlike in Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, you need not worry about missing a special hidden piece of treasure if you don't fully explore them. Instead, you can concentrate on completing whatever quest or goal brought you there, and then focus on getting the hell out. Because of their size, I think it's recommended that you don't try to fully explore these. In this next section, I will be referring to the dungeon as being randomly generated. I want to make it clear this isn't done on the player's end, but instead was done at Bethesda's offices 25 years ago. So each dungeon the player visits has a unique seed from which they are then procedurally generated from. This may all sound confusing, but basically it means that on multiple playthroughs, you can slowly start to learn the layouts of the dungeons, as they will be the same on each playthrough. But as they were originally randomly generated during their creation, all the flaws I mentioned relating to this still stand. The randomly generated dungeons can be dauntingly large at first glance, growing to seemingly endless limits.
That's unfortunate that Fugitive had an animal companion. Uh-oh.
Handcrafted dungeons, such as Privateer Hold here, don't skip all the slides either, often mixing in complex puzzles that I have no shame in admitting that I needed more than a few online walkthroughs to help me figure out. Due to the random nature of their creation, all the non-story dungeons can be susceptible to areas that can...
Oh, that's awesome! There
Which
are.
ones of the line?
Now you will know!
That's really cool. This mod's awesome. I wish they were more spread out though. That'd be awesome. Because that one scamp is right there.
difficult or even impossible to reach between broken puzzles, hidden doorways, areas requiring multi-brief levitation to even levitation. Another problem is the multi-brief. Sure, there are different textures, but other than the rare pieces of open geometry, they can be painfully boring, lacking the clutter and objects that help to bring dungeons to life in the later games. I will say that the story dungeons actually fare better in this regard, regularly containing things that you would expect in their environments.
I've been hearing disturbing tales about Oblivion gates opening all across Cyrodiil. I hope it's just wild talk.
Can be too.
Well, I mean, she's right next to him, but hopefully she thinks it's just the only one.
Good day.
What do you want? If you've done good deeds, then
Yes. Good day.
What can I do for you?
So they're all banned. At least they're
A
good
good
bandits. I
man
guess
who honors the nine
they decided
may
to
visit
choose
the
their
way
own
shrines of
their
Akatar
lifestyle.
for blessing.
Big and frustrating for their
Bye.
own good. Personally, I recommend using the smaller dungeon option in the Unity version of the game. This makes them much less intimidating and frankly more fun. It turns a 2-hour-long dungeon slog into a short 20-minute adventure, which actually promotes exploration and wondering about the complete direction at the same time. I will say, while the story dungeons can also be very large, because of their handcrafted nature, they are far more fun to explore and complete. On to combat, and I'll say it can feel clumsy at first. The system is entirely dice roll based, the animated enemy attacks and your weapon swings being simple visual indicators and nothing more. One that may look like your sword just cleaved that guy's head off. If the game instead plays a whooshing noise, I'm sorry, but you missed. If you played Morrowind before, then you're always used to this. And as I said verbatim in my retrospective for that game, just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad. It serves its purpose perfectly and lends itself to the player's feeling of progression. As you level up your combat skills, you will hit more and more often, making the game feel more responsive and fluid as your character gains fighting experience. This applies to blocking and dodging too. It may feel like that dodge skill was a bad investment at first because of how little it seems to work, but as you progress, you will find enemies find it harder and harder to successfully hit you. The combat also uses a method of control that isn't seen too often nowadays, with your weapon of choice being controlled by a swing of your mouse. These wavy mouse controls can feel cumbersome at first, but seeing as games like Mountain Blade, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and Chivalry still use systems similar to the one implemented here, it isn't really fair to say that it's outdated per se. Although I myself turned it off in the Unity settings to make the game feel a bit closer to the later games in the series. I'm gonna be straight with anyone here who hasn't played Daggerfall yet. You will die a lot at first. Saving is essential with this game's high learning curve and lack of any in-game adjustable difficulty center. The quick save and quick load keys will become your bread and butter. You see a door, you quick save. You turn a corner, you quick save.
What do
Are
you
you gonna
want?
take a jump? Quick save. You
Those
get
famous
legit.
for good
If you're not
deeds.
saving every 5 to 10 minutes out of
Take
here,
care.
you're doing something wrong. Daggerfall is notorious for being difficult, and this can sometimes even sound like an understatement. With its moving platforms, switches, twists, turns, and enemies lurking out of sight, Daggerfall's sense of danger is unparalleled in the Elder Scrolls series, only matched by its prequel in Arena. Even while traveling in the wilderness, you may be stopped to be interrupted by a variety of beasts, including bears, centaurs, spriggans, and even the fearsome dragonling. There is a vast amount of stopped to be interrupted by a variety of beasts, including bears, centaurs, spriggans, and even the fearsome dragonling. There is a vast amount of diverse enemies, some that will be familiar to the newer fans, and some that are not. The Daedra in particular have a completely unique roster to what fans may be used to. And as I'm sure we've all come to realize with the success of the Dark Souls series, difficulty doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's harder than Skyrim or Oblivion. And once you get used to it, you'll be right at home killing everything that comes across your path. As you make your way through this first dungeon, slowly learning the quirks and controls of this classic, it is likely that you will level up.
I don't know how to make this request any simpler, but to put it bluntly, Raylan the Gravefinder must die. A few months ago, that witch of a necromancer decided to inhabit Moss Rock Cavern just north of my inn. I don't know what she does in there. Frankly, I don't want to know. However, I do know that after she arrived, the woods at night became unsafe. I've seen undead of all types walking in the dark woods near the cave entrance. Now this area is getting a bad reputation, and my business has waned. Every day, it seems the number of undead increase. If someone can get into the cave and kill Raylan, maybe we can stem the tide. Her death pays a handsome bounty. I hope you'll take advantage of the opportunity. Still no news out of Elswell since everybody
If you
vanished.
played more with
Strange
Oblivion,
business.
You should feel right at home with this system. One thing to keep in mind.
A small settlement to the west of here, on the other side of the Silver Road to Bruma. We've had travelers through recently that say it's turned into a ghost town. Everyone vanished without a trace.
5%. While this leveling system isn't anything new by today's standards, at the time,
Raylan
I'm sure
will
it was like
finally
breathing
get
breath
what's
of fresh
coming
air
to
into
her.
the old.
I don't know how to-
Silver and experience bars would have been
I offer the finest goods and the lowest prices in all Cyrodiil.
Service, we can exit Privateer's hold and find ourselves into the beautiful
Raylan will
tunnel
finally get
during the winter months. From here, we are free to do anything.
We are free.
It brings a great sense of discovery. This is what ties all the Bethesda games together, and Daggerfall is no different. While every player completes the same first dungeon, after that, the rest is completely up to them. There is an enormous number of paths for the player to go. Once you finally reach the end of the starting dungeon, the
Greetings,
gate proper opens up. And boy, oh boy, do I mean opens up. Daggerfall is the closest the Elder Scrolls ever got to true medieval fantasy life simulation. Run for hundreds of miles just to see what you come across. Find a town, sell all goods, buy yourself a big old cart, and now you can carry even more loot. Join a guild, or a temple, or even a knightly order. Complete quests, oh boy, do I mean opens up. Daggerfall is the closest the Elder Scrolls ever got to true medieval fantasy life simulation. Run for hundreds of miles just to see what you come across. Find a town, sell off your loot, buy yourself a big old cart, and now you can carry even more loot. Join ever got to true medieval fantasy life simulation. Run for hundreds of miles just to see what you come across. Find a town and sell off your loot. Buy yourself a big old cart, and now you can carry even more loot. Join a guild, or a temple, or even a knightly order. Complete quests, earn money, buy better gear, learn spells, create your own spells, enchant your gear, talk to kings and queens, or seek to fulfill your psychopathic tendencies and murder the populace. And then join the Dark Brotherhood to make it legit. If murder's not your thing, why not become a kleptomaniac and make your money the nefarious way with the Thieves Guild? Are you being chased by the local guards? When it's time to do a Ubisoft and climb some walls and jump across some rooftops? If you bought the magical sword, why not levitate the vast heights? Then realize you forgot your horse, so why not take them with you too? Stash your 200 kilograms of gold into the bank and consider buying a house. Only to realize that Iliac Bay has one hell of a housing crisis going on, so why not take up and murder the local populace? Beautiful tundra of Daggerfall province during the winter months. From here, we are free to do anything. It brings a great sense of discovery. This is what ties all Bethesda games together, and Daggerfall is no different. While every player completes the same first dungeon, after that, the rest is completely up to them. There is an enormous number of paths for the player to go. Once you finally reach the end of the starting dungeon, the game proper opens up. And boy, oh boy, do I mean opens up. Daggerfall is the closest the Elder Scrolls ever got to true medieval fantasy life simulation. Run for hundreds of miles just to see what you come across. Find a town and sell off your loot. Buy yourself a big old cart, and now you can carry even more loot. Join a guild, or a temple, or even a knightly order. Complete quests, earn money, buy better gear, learn spells, create your own spells, enchant your gear, talk to kings and queens, or seek to fulfill your psychopathic tendencies and murder the local populace. And then join the Dark Brotherhood to make it legit. If murder's not your thing, why not become a kleptomaniac and make your money the nefarious way with the Thieves Guild? Are you being chased by the local guards? When it's time to do a Ubisoft and climb some walls and jump across some rooftops? If you bought off the magical sword, why not levitate the vast heights? Then realize you forgot your horse, so why not take them with you too? Stash your 200 kilograms of gold into the bank and consider buying a house, only to realize that Iliac Bay has one hell of a housing crisis going on, so why not take out a loan? Sure, if you don't pay it back, they'll send out the loan sharks after you, but that doesn't matter, because you used the money to buy a boat.
I know I said... Give me a quick second. Oh yeah, that's right, the saves reset. That is so strange. It wasn't doing that before. It's fine.
This game is an action RPG with fantasy life simulator elements, then Daggerfall is a fantasy life simulator with action RPG elements. Thanks goes to LGR for that perfect analogy. This may be daunting for some people, but as someone who started this wonderful series with Morrowind and always dreamed of a deeper system for truly living in the world of Vardenfell, I love the freedom Daggerfall offers in this regard. You can stroll along the vast streets of a city, talk to the locals, visit a tavern, drink all the mead you can handle, and take a quest from a fellow to find a lost item deep in a cave. And that is as legitimate a playstyle as making a beeline for the main quest or joining a guild. Regarding that main quest, Daggerfall has so many different activities for the player to do that the main quest actually comes to you rather than you to it. After a few in-game months of learning and getting accustomed to this new world you have found yourself in, you will be presented with a letter snuck onto your person. If you reply to this letter, then the main quest has begun, and you have begun fulfilling your duties to the Emperor. But what if you don't want to? Maybe after that life-threatening storm, you've decided to sod Uriel and all these missions he keeps sending you on. Well, that's fine, you need not worry about it. If you want to abandon it to live your life on your own terms, then you are free to do so. No threat of the gates of Oblivion, nor the return of deadly dragons. Daggerfall gives you so many options that it's almost impossible not to find something to do. It reminds me a lot of a saying I've heard about Minecraft. If you can't find something to do, it's because you lack imagination. And I feel that really applies here too. Between the multiple guilds, the main story, the endless amount of dungeons, Daedric quests, and countless Radiant missions, you're never lacking content or direction. You need only luck for it. I will say in the first 5 hours, it's common to feel completely overwhelmed with everything you can do. Hell, in my first ever playthrough years ago, I spent nearly 2 hours just in that first dungeon. Fortunately, compared to Arena, Daggerfall offers quite a bit of quality of life improvements. For example, on the local map, guilds, shops and taverns are now color-coded, helping you to quickly identify where you want to go in these massive cities. And if you do get lost, ask and
I'm just making sure that the because better cities needs to be at the bottom. If it's not, there's some issues with some well, if you watch my previous streams, you see the what is it? Skimgrad. Whoa! Awesome. Okay, so I've explained this, but as anyone who's new, I have played Oblivion, restarted the game specifically multiple times, so I don't mind doing something like this just for quality of life. This playthrough is gonna be not vanilla, obviously, but again, as someone who has probably invested about 50 hours actually on my channel, unfortunately, I'll move it eventually onto my video game journal channel. It's currently my main channel, but I made it private. But I do have about 30 videos with the 360 Oblivion, and even before that, let me just do auto walk. And even before that, I played on my 360 when it first came out, and yeah. I was trying to see if I could see the other bridges. I actually thought one of my mods added maybe better cities, but it's not the full better cities, unfortunately, so maybe that's why. Anyway, but yes, I don't mind again doing something like this. Well, that's cool. They have the little. I don't mind them not being in the map. That makes sense. So yeah, it's mostly gonna be a vanilla enhanced playthrough. I'm not the only other mods I added. Like I added in the last stream session the mod for streamlined subtitles because it was going too fast. I wasn't able to read it. And then I had a disable mod, clock to server, one probably saw because that's actually why I went at the end to see make sure everything was good to go. I guess it's easier to get closer to the Imperial city, but it's still a pain in the butt to actually enter it. I don't get my save files resetting, though. That's kind of concerning. Huh. Oh, hi, Dad. You're here? Let me help you. Let me just save, though. I'll play games.